If you all would turn in your packets to the first book that we'll do today, this is a book called Rebooting Work by Maynard Webb. And this book has been on almost every business bestseller list that I have seen. It has had terrific traffic and terrific reviews. This is a man who started out as a security guard at IBM. Not director of security, I'm talking about security guard at IBM, and then moved his way all the way up to being the COO of eBay. And in fact, Meg Whitman wrote the foreword to this book that was very positive and very, very favorable. Obviously, what he did a lot for that company was actually transform it where it might have gone under, took it to new heights. So he's now running a company called LiveOps, which is a cloud-based contract company with more than 20,000 registered contractors who do work as he finds it, and as they work as agents, and they're able to do a lot of, obviously, of independent work as it is able to do. And so it's quite a book for talking about how, in fact, we are moving forward toward more and more entrepreneurship in work. And as always, we start with some key quotes from the book, and if you look at your presentation outline, I'll read you just a few of these to give you the author's language. He says, "Work as we know it is such an oxymoron. We have record unemployment, yet companies can't find enough of the right talent. Although analysts have long viewed a mobile workforce as an economic strength, what is meant by the term needs to be updated and refined. The mobile workforce I believe in is not made up of people moving to a different city or state to find work, but of people working from wherever they want. The average person wastes the equivalent of 8 weeks a year commuting. Imagine what we can do if we claim those weeks back. Even at the most micro level, we can eliminate one of the most stressful parts of every workday. Third, when it comes to the way we work, we follow the same practices that were set 50 years ago. It's not that we don't have the technologies. We have the tools to help us go farther, faster, cheaper, and more easily than before. We just haven't advanced our management mindset enough to properly adopt them." And there are 4 frames with 2 axes. On the top axis, you see the difference between people who are working from the assumptions of a paternalistic era and those who are working from the assumptions of the age of entrepreneurship. And then on the other axis, you see where you are working from the assumptions of meritocracy, where you are invested, you're proactive, you're positive, you're a willing and energetic participant, versus those who work from assumptions of entitlement, where you feel deserving, frustrated, and critical. And so the combination of those 2 axes puts you into different frames. And so what I'd like to do today is to talk about what he says about when you are in these different frames, what happens if you're stuck in one, and how you get out of one and move into another. And the basic, assumptions of this kind of work really aren't new, but I've never seen anything so practical as I have in this book, which actually are not things that are just, theoretical. This is the guy who's actually lived going through these steps. And so he says what you have to do is you look at what are the pitfalls that a typical entrepreneur, being a freelancer or an independent contractor, has to face. And I reproduce these for you on the outline. Notice that they fail because they can't deal with the lack of structure. They get easily distracted. They don't put enough money into the right business tools. They get involved with people who overpromise or mislead them. They ignore opportunities to network with people who do the kinds of things they do. They don't get involved in a support network, and they can't master the business skills that are unrelated to, in fact, their core competency. And so what he says is if you are in this frame and you want to become a CEO of your own destiny, you've got to retool your skill set, find out what you're not good at and get there, save money, reduce expenses, live on less, and understand that sole proprietorship does not come with paid holidays, vacation days, or sick days. Plan ahead and budget for those things. Y'all, again, whoever wins this book, you will find this to be a terrifically practical book of what you need to do if that's of interest to you to move to frame 2. And if not, you also find some very interesting questions and some facts about where you are in the other frames. Rebooting Work by Maynard Webb. I hope you enjoyed the synopsis of that book.